Alright guys, today I'm going to show you one of the greatest New York Mets of all time. He's Dominican, he hits left-handed, his first name starts with J, and he has crazy in-game aura. His name is Jordany Valdespin. Jordany Valdespin was never even an average MLB hitter for any of his career. He did not get on base, he hit mostly weak ground balls, his defense was a strong net negative, and the only baseball savant data we have on him, which comes from 2 games in 2015, says he's bad at basically everything they track. But in Jordany Valdespin's mind, he was the best player on the field, by far. He carried himself like he was the main character of Major League Baseball. Of all players who performed this poorly in MLB history, Jordany Valdespin was the greatest of them all. At the very least, he thought he was.
Sentiment right now, you know.
Hang on just a sec, SRS Industries needs to pay its rent. This video is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads. Over 70,000 events are listed on SeatGeek. Sports, concerts, festivals, comedy shows, a lot more than that. Basically anything important that requires a ticket. And as of today, the NHL and NBA playoffs are both underway. Of course, Major League Baseball is also back. I had the privilege this month of going to see the Mets play the Marlins in Miami, and watching Pete Alonso hit a grand slam up close and personal. And this wouldn't have been possible without SeatGeek. SeatGeek rates every ticket on a scale of 1 to 10, basically quantifying how good the deal is for each ticket. If you're more of a colors person than a numbers person, look for green dots. Green dots are good. And every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. SeatGeek is also MLB's official ticketing marketplace. Your tickets are fully guaranteed and instantly fulfilled after your order. And you know I came through for you guys. You can use code SRS10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code SRS10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. Valdespin seems like a very unconventional hitter just by watching him take one swing. He has a very long, violent, ungraceful kind of swing. He's like the anti-Ken Griffey Jr. As a 12-year-old Mets fan the year Jordany came up with the team, it made for a very fun swing to imitate in the backyard at least. His swing wasn't getting many hits his first handful of big league plate appearances though. Each of his first 6 at-bats in the big leagues resulted in outs, and 2 weeks after his first big league at-bat, still hitless, he's called on to pinch hit with 2 outs in the 9th inning against one of MLB's best relief pitchers. 2 outs, 2 strikes in the 9th inning, a guy with genuinely 0 big league success to his name in the batter's box beyond just earning the privilege of being here and wearing the uniform. And then, Jordany does this.
Valdespin hits it to deep right field. Back goes Pence, and it's out of here! Jordany Valdespin's first big league hit is a 3-run homer, and the Mets take a 5-2 lead in the ninth.
Jordany Valdespin was the first player in Major League history to have their first hit as a home run off a closer with 200 or more saves. Because, of course he was. Valdespin was a fun player to watch, sure, but his 2012 performance wasn't anything to write home about. Net negative on-field value, below average hitting, well below replacement value defense. He did set the Mets team record for pinch hit homers in a season with 5. 5 of his 8 homers on the year, which is kind of telling that he never consistently broke into a starting role and was pinch hitting the majority of the time. If Valdespin did achieve any on-field success though, he certainly did something to indicate how fired up he was. It's a lot more common in baseball now to see this stuff, but in 2012, we're still 3 years before the Jose Bautista bat flip. Acknowledging your own success in a celebratory fashion while still on the field playing the game was much less common and much less socially accepted at this time. Jordany was being flashy for love of the game. His critics correctly pointed out that he hadn't really built up a track record to back this up, but he was gonna do his thing and have fun anyway. I, personally, have no issue with that. Am I a reliable narrator because I was delusional enough to say Giordani was my favorite player as a 7th grader Mets fan while this was going on? Maybe. But at least I know now I was delusional. I was also a 7th grader who didn't have Twitter, just now learning while researching for this video that Valdespin also tweeted a photo of himself wearing a Marlins hat after this 2012 season. Remember, Valdespin is a Met. The Mets and the Marlins are in the same division. I have Marlins gear that I wear, sue me, but I don't play for the Mets, so I can understand the criticism here. Believe it or not, though, this year of net negative value for Giordani was, in all likelihood, the peak of his career. It never got any better than this for him on the field, and the symbolism of that kicked in right away. Many Mets fans' defining memory of Valdespin most likely came from spring training of 2013. We're about there chronologically in Valdespin's career, so I'll mention it here. Justin Verlander was probably the best pitcher on the planet at the moment of him facing Valdespin in a meaningless game on March 11th. Verlander drilled Valdespin in a very painful-looking spot. The images of Giordani wincing in pain from the hit tell you all you need to know. The Mets training staff asked Valdespin where the ball hit him when they first came out to check on him. Valdespin simply responded, "My dick." It was apparently highly unusual for second basemen like Valdespin to not wear a cup to, prevent this sort of thing. Later he said that the wounded area was, quote, working good. His manager, Terry Collins, who spent the entire time knowing Valdespin, trying to get him to chill out, vaguely insinuated that this happening to him was the result of karma. Valdespin makes the Mets team out of spring training in 2013, and in the team's 19th game of the season, his legend explodes. With the bases loaded and 1 out in the bottom of the 9th inning, Valdespin has a signature moment.
Valdespin swinging and a long fly ball to right field. That'll win in front of York. It hits toward the wall, and it's out here! A grand slam for Valdespin to win the ball game.
When asked about this after the game, he fired off the line that would stick with him forever.
Do you feel like the man right now?
Yes, I'm the man right now,
And he still feels like the man for at least the next 2.5 weeks. May 10th, 2013. The Mets are losing 7-1 at home to the Pirates in the 9th inning. Valdespin obliterates a ball and admires it the whole way. In these days, doing this while the game is basically over is ripe for retaliation. Someone who knows this is Giordani Valdespin. Valdespin schemes to try and avoid playing the next day because he knows a hit by pitch is probably coming his way. Clearly, he's not thinking of the benefits to his on-base percentage, which he could surely use. He does not want to get drilled, and will do everything in his power to try and avoid facing the Pirates again this series. Well, the next day the Mets pinch hit Giordani anyway, and the second pitch he sees nails him. Nothing else happens, which enrages Valdespin to no end. It's been reported that after this, Valdespin essentially threw a tantrum because he was upset that his teammates didn't start an on-field fight with the Pirates to defend his honor. This is a guy who also threw a tantrum after having a prank played on him by his teammates the year before, although I can't seem to find any extra details online about what this prank was. He eventually cooled down, soon found a couple days later listening to music in his Beats that was supposedly still heard by other people 20 feet away, hearing loss be damned. Valdespin plays poorly the rest of the way, getting sent back down to the minor leagues in mid-July. He throws another tantrum upon receiving this news, this time in front of the team's general manager, and then he reportedly refers to the team's manager as one of those on his way out. It seems 2013 could not get any worse for Giordani. Hey, would you look at that? Less than a month later, he gets suspended for performance-enhancing drugs.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
He never plays for the Mets again, getting cut from the team when the season ends. There is almost nothing to say about his 2014 season other than that it happened. He's on the Marlins this time. Oh my god, he predicted the future, that's what this was about. He technically has his best season ever at producing 0.0 wins above replacement, and next to nothing of note happened. His stats weren't anything impressive, nor were there any stories or drama this time. Well, except one. We later learned that he wanted to quit baseball altogether after being cut by the Mets, and his mother talked him into both continuing to play and doing so with a healthier mentality. He joined the Marlins with a more relaxed presence, claiming himself to be a changed man, coming off of being cut and a PED suspension, and his new manager, who there is no paper trail of him ever calling a slur, praised him for playing hungry. He didn't stick with the Marlins for long though, as his play still didn't improve from the poor levels it was at with the Mets. And by July of 2015, he had played his very last game in the major leagues. A few stints in minor league ball, independent ball, and foreign leagues later, he still kicked it as a pro for the next half-decade plus. I struggled with my own immaturity in my youth. On and off, I carry a lot of regret about how behind I was at certain ages compared to the standards I set for myself now. It's something I shared in my video about Bryce Harper's blossoming into a respected figure in baseball, only Valdespin didn't earn the chance to redeem himself as he got older. I would like to hope that Jordani isn't consumed by regret for how his career went, both on and off the field, because there are still people out there who love him for what he was. That other guy I briefly teased at the beginning of this video is now the highest paid athlete of all time by total contract value. He's a Dominican Met with flair and talent, and Jordani is quite fond of him. When this new star for the Mets hit his first ever home run for them, he was bestowed the title of the man. Jordani Valdespin is who publicly gave him this credit. The official New York Mets account made sure to give Jordani the credit he deserved though, saying to Jordani, "You're always the man."